What is going on, YouTube? Heretic here, playing a match against the Baller. He's got my Manectric water deck, and I am playing Peter Kica's The Power of One deck. I like to call the movie Revelation Lugia myself. That's the Japanese version of Pokemon the Movie 2000, at least the title. I think it sounds a little cooler, but most of us here stateside know it as The Power of One, so that was Peter Kica's deck name, based around Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, and Lugia EX from the Plasma Storm expansion. So I'm going to go ahead and take this for a test drive and see how it does against my own creation that got me a pair of finalist showings in this year's cities, as my buddy Deon, the Baller, goes ahead and pilots that. Sorry for the stutter there, people. And there will be no cutting of the deck here to start, so anyway, we will draw our first hands and hope for the best. And, well, I've got my first basic. He has a mulligan. So you can see some of the cards. If you want to see the full list of Manectric Water, you can always go and look at my Manectric Seismitoad Kyurem deck profile. It's one of my more recent profiles I've posted, and pretty much all the same. I think there may be one card different in the one he's playing right now. I believe I added a Greninja EX for a little early sniping power. Something I saw some of the Hovercat guys do. Seems to be okay. Not sure if I'll keep it or not. So anyway, he's going to draw his second hand, and he's going to show us another mulligan. So now we got two. So that's a 9-card opening hand now, so that seems pretty legit. We'll see where that goes. You can definitely see a bunch of the cards in the Manectric deck. There's the Greninja as the Baller shuffles. And I'm just going to refer to him as Deon. It's a little easier. And again, I almost forgot I wasn't going to cut the deck there, because that's what happens when we don't both shuffle at the same time. Anyway, and there is the third mulligan. So this is getting kind of crazy. Sorry about this, folks. So that's going to be, including my starting active Pokemon, a 10-card opening hand, and of course I also, not shown on screen, so I should probably mention, I did win the dice roll for this match, so I will be going first on top of a 10-card starting hand. So hopefully, at that point, there's no way we hit the dreaded supporter drought. Of course, I've seen stranger things happen before. Anyway, here we go, as Deon opens with a Plasma Kyurem, and I open with Zapdos EX, and draw my 11th card, and there is a Team Plasma Ball right there, and we can see I already have a Deoxys in my hand. And let's play a Team Plasma Ball and see what we decide to search for here. If memory serves me, it will be Lugia EX, and indeed it is. So, Lugia EX down onto the bench, and I didn't shuffle that thoroughly, which means I'm going to go back in right there with a Colress Machine. And we'll see where this energy ends up going. I believe it goes onto Zapdos, if I recall correctly. Yep. Plasma Energy onto Zapdos EX, and I know I still have that Deoxys in my hand, which would probably be served much better on the bench. And so, yep, there is Deoxys EX to the bench. We got a pair of Muscle Bands there. There's one on Lugia, and there's going to be one on Zapdos right here. Right there. Let's get that all nice and neat for us OCD lovers. Double Colorless Energy is a manual attach for the turn onto Lugia, and we will play a Shauna, shuffling the other 3 Plasma Energies right back into the deck, because we don't want those in our hand if they don't have to be. I'd rather accelerate those through Colress Machine. So we will get 5 brand new cards, and scary to think that out of an 11-card hand after our turn draw, including our basic, that we only had the 1 supporter, but the difference between 0 and 1 supporters, especially early game draw supporters, is rather massive. And there is another Deoxys down on the bench, and we'll see if there's anything else I do here before passing the turn, and there is not. So Deon will take his first turn. You see him draw his first card, and we can see an N in his hand right off the bat. See what he decides to do here. If he's debating, he plays a Plasma Kyurem and attaches a Water Energy to it, and a Muscle Band. And we'll see if he decides to N away what would be a 4-card hand. I would think he'd maybe play something like a Professor Sycamore if he has one. And Instead, we see an Ultra Ball, and what will he discard? It will be a Colress and a Tool Retriever, so he will indeed hold that N in his hand. And see, as that Colress would have shuffled in, he could have shuffled in his hand and drawn 4, whereas now he can draw 6 cards off of a potential N, and instead we see Jirachi EX, which means he is going for the Professor Sycamore to just dump the whole thing and get 7 cards while not increasing my hand size. Definitely a solid play there. Jirachi EX, really, in my opinion, one of the most clutch cards in the game right now. Very difficult for me to run a deck without it, even with stuff like Versus Seeker running around. And it looks like it wasn't an N, rather a Skyla, so my bad, I saw wrong. And so he tosses a Skyla out and draws a fresh 7 cards, and let's see what he draws now, and if that Manectric may hit the field now. So anyway, he's just going to take his time here for a little bit. If you guys were wondering why there's a little bit of background music that I put into a voiceover, it's because there are going to be moments when maybe we were just spending time thinking, and Deon will go ahead and pass his turn here, and I will attach a Lightning Energy to Zapdos, and let's see if we just get an attack, or if I did have another supporter here. Looks like a Colress Machine in the wait, and there it is. So let's go grab one of those Plasma Energies we shuffled back into the deck last turn and attach it to Lugia EX this time. And there is a Colress for 5, so a Pseudo Shauna, if there were to be a second one, and there we go. Colressing up for 5 cards, and a little bit of Deon's 7-Up bottled there on the left side of the screen. If it were ENT, there would definitely be Mountain Dew instead. It's one of our other Buckeye Pokemon League members. And so draw a fresh 5 and use Startling Megaphone right away to discard a Muscle Band, because realistically, unless I hit a Spirit Link when it's not Mega Evolved, that won't be much use. And then we do an Agility for 70 damage thanks to a Muscle Band and 2 Deoxys and Rolled Tails, so we do not get the invulnerability effect, but we still get the damage. And that is a lot for an attack that has a 50% chance of making you completely invulnerable next turn, thanks to the power of Muscle Band and the 2 Deoxys EX that reside on my bench currently. And it looks like we will see a Seismitoad EX from Deon's side, and a double Colorless Energy to go right with that. We'll see if he has the switch here in a moment, as that would certainly make things a little more interesting. Putting me into item lock could potentially be troublesome, as it would take away cards such as Colress Machine and Team Plasma Ball, which are absolutely vital to getting a Plasma deck set up that much faster. And there's a Muscle Band as well on the on the Seismitoad, and there is the switch card. So we will be seeing a Quaking Punch this turn. And let's see if he plays a supporter here or not, and it will just be a Quaking Punch. So 50 damage. And so drawing card, we've definitely got some energy in hand. We will go ahead and attach a Lightning Energy from hand to Lugia, and try and see if there's anything else. Nothing else right now, so Agility for 70 damage on Seismitoad, and that will put it within range of Plasma Gale. We also rolled heads, meaning that Zapdos is now invulnerable to all effects of attacks, including damage, during Deon's next turn. And I think I had to explain that to him there real quick. He's asking me, what does that attack do? But anyway, he will go ahead and take his turn now, and we just, I guess, hope that we don't get pelted by Lysander or Enhanced Hammers, as Lugia tries to set up for that one-turn KO on Seismitoad. And you can see he benched a Manectric EX, which, with Assault Laser, given the Muscle Band on Lugia, could easily have enough firepower to return KO the Lugia. And that's something that, I guess I would just have to decide in that situation now. Is it worth taking the 3 prizes on Seismitoad to get my Lugia fried right back in return? And, I mean, 3 prizes to 2, you look at that and you think, yeah, that's definitely worth it. But when you're losing that many resources, the question becomes, does he have a Lysander? Because if he does, then the answer is yes, it's worth it. Get the 3 prizes while you can. If not, well, I guess the only way to know is to find out. So he will, anyway, Deon will attach a lightning energy to one of the 2 lightning energies he searched with his Professor's Letter onto his Manectric EX, and consider what his next play will be, and whether or not he has a way to get Seismitoad EX out of the active slot. Instead, he just Quaking Punches for... We're going to remove that damage in a second, because there is still only 50. Agility does prevent the damage, but not the Trainer Lock, as that is an effect on the player and not on the Pokemon. So now, really just debating, do we retreat Zapdos and bring up Lugia, or do we try to Agility again, since Turbo Volt is out of the question here, as we are unable to play a card such as Colress Machine. And you can see I do have a Lysander in my hand, along with a Lightning Energy. Can't quite see what the rest of it is, but, you know, Lysander definitely an option. If we had 2 more Deoxys, we could take an Insta-KO on Jirachi, but I think in this situation, attaching the Lightning Energy to Zapdos, then making it able to retreat while still having the energy requirement for Agility, and then we can just bring up that Lugia, I would assume, and take 3 prizes off of Seismitoad EX, and I believe that is what my play is going to be here. And we go for that Lightning Energy to the discard pile, and there is the Lugia EX up front to the active, and if there is anything else, nope, I will immediately discard the Plasma Energy to Gale for a whopping 3 prizes. So stupid that anything, I mean, obviously we knew Rayquaza Deoxys Legend could do that, but still just a ridiculous ability to be able to potentially 2-prize someone with Lugia EX, and I did that many a time at States, and again in Fort Wayne in the expanded format. So I know all about Lugia, but it looks now as if Lugia is going to fall to that Manectric EX, as we already know Deon has a second Lightning Energy in hand from the Professor's Letter the previous turn, so really it's just a matter of, is that the energy he attaches, or does he have maybe a Water or a double colorless energy he might prefer to use and save a Lightning Energy for another Manectric. And he will go ahead and lay down a second Lightning Energy. And looks like an Assault Laser directly, no supporters or anything, and a double prize draw off of KOing a Pokemon EX, this being Lugia in this case. And then now we see I will play a Team Plasma Ball and search out my 3rd Deoxys. And see if there is anything else we can do here. As with 3 Deoxys on the bench now, Agility is hitting 80 points worth of damage, and I've got a couple cards I might be able to play. See if I choose to play either one of them. The Rainbow Energy is definitely possible, although we may want to hold that. And I do believe I drew I'm actually not sure what I drew off the prizes the last turn. I do believe I drew a Thundurus EX, which I could bench alongside the, there's Thundurus in hand with the Rainbow Energy, and I also do have a Switch card. So I guess I'm kind of thinking about that for a moment. That seems like the best play, and there is the Thundurus EX with Rainbow Energy, and now we will play the Switch card to bring Thundurus into the active position, and play a Colress for 7 cards. So shuffle the rest of that hand in, get a fresh hand of 7, and then Raiden Knuckle will give us the ability to accelerate energy from the discard pile onto presumably Zapdos EX, although, again, a Lysander could really hurt because that Zapdos is once again weak against lightning and therefore within easy striking range of Manectric being able to finish it off with a single attack. And much like that, the water Pokemon in Deon's deck also would have a strong advantage against either of my 2 copies of Moltres EX included in this deck. So I'll go ahead and play a Frozen City after getting Tails on roller skates, and let's see, did I see a 4th Deoxys in my hand or not? I don't remember if I had one now. I would think I would have played it, but I've made worse mistakes on camera before. So we will see exactly how much of a blunder might happen. It looks like we're just going to Raiden Knuckle here for 80 damage, or sorry, 60 damage. There's no Muscle Band on Thundurus. And see what happens here. And Deon's going to check his discard pile real quick. I presume maybe to see if he can get the Spirit Link and go into Mega Manectric. Could be able to possibly charge some energy onto something on the bench if there is any in the discard pile. We do know there was a Quaking Punch earlier, but that was also off a double colorless energy, which is not accelerable via Mega Manectric EX. So we'll see what he decides to do here. As it looks like he's just trying to think right now and just decide, what do I want to do? And I can see I do not think that is a Deoxys. I think that is a Moltres in my hand. And Deon's going to play a Versus Seeker for a Skyla, so we'll see if he goes in for either the Ultra Ball or the Spirit Link. There is the Manectric Spirit Link right there. So I assume he's going to Mega Evolve this turn, because I can always just attach an energy to Zapdos otherwise and take another knockout. And here's the Ultra Ball, discarding a Water Energy, which can be re-accelerated with Mega Manectric. He also throws a regular Manectric away. So I assume he's going to go and grab that Mega Manectric EX right here, and then go for the Turbo Bolt, which would deal 110 points of damage and accelerate energy, at least the one water, onto something on his bench. And we'll see where that Mega Manectric is. I highly doubt there's a couple of them prized. I don't know if he's gone through any of them yet. So he continues to check his hand and see, like, what would be my best option. And I think it's gonna, you know, unless it's already in his hand, he's got to have the Mega Manectric as the Ultra Ball target here. That was Aurora saying hello. She is an American Eskimo dog, and someone has caught her attention. And it looks like Deon is just going to pull a regular Manectric EX out of the deck instead of a Mega. So, and he will attach a Water Energy, and he does have the Mega in his hand. So there it is, and attaching Water Energy to Kyurem, now he can get a Blizzard Burn setup, or potentially set to charge up that other Manectric, which could be a nifty second attacker here, dealing Turbo Bolt for 110 damage, and attaches the Water Energy to Manectric EX on the bench. So now let's see what we've got here. Looks like a Rainbow Energy. Could always attach that to Zapdos and get an easy knockout here via retreating or playing a switch card if we have one. And checking the discard pile, I guess, just to see what's left in the deck and what our options might be should we choose to Raiden Knuckle. And it looks like I'm going to attach the energy to Thundurus. I'm thinking that was probably a big misplay. Thinking, well, we could retreat, save the switch if we have one. If we don't, actually, it doesn't. We may not, but. And we did not. But there is a Professor Sycamore. Still questioning why I attached that Rainbow Energy to Thundurus and not to Zapdos, when Zapdos clearly was the correct play. And we did draw into the switch card, but I think at this point now you don't really want to play it, because now you can only use Agility, and even if we hit the 4th Deoxys, that is only 90 damage and is not enough to knock out the Mega Manectric. So it looks like Mega Manectric, after our blunder misplay, will survive the turn, and that could be really bad news, as that card has free retreat and can jump immediately back to the bench in favor of Kyurem or the other Manectric. So really just now trying to decide, how do we make up for this misplay? Let's hope this doesn't cost us the game. And I think the option here, since we already attached, is going to be, we're going to end up losing the energy obviously, but just go ahead and Raiden Knuckle onto Zapdos again. At least get the energy attachment so that we have the potential to Power Volt next turn if necessary. The other thing that could be a problem here is that Thundurus EX will is pretty much guaranteed to get knocked out now, and that will leave Deon with only 2 prizes, and that Zapdos is easily within one-shot range of either Manectric or Kyurem, as well as the Mega Manectric itself, so that could present a bit of a problem, as each Kyurem and the bench non-Mega Manectric would only need 1 energy apiece, 1 energy more apiece to get that knockout attack on Zapdos, and instead we see an Enhanced Hammer and a Professor Sycamore. So now the Plasma Energy is gone, and that will lower Power Volt's damage output. Should we get another energy that isn't a Plasma, would lower it by 40. Of course, we still have Agility, which is right now dealing 80 damage, and that will always be an option. We can try to rely on coin flips here as long as we have those lightning energies. But relying on luck can not always the greatest thing to do in the world, as luck can't carry you all the way. bad joke of the day, the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, we're not able to do that down in Dallas this past week. But anyway, we'll see what Deon decides to do here, attaching a Spirit Link to the benched Manectric, and if that one becomes a Mega with a Lightning Energy, that could spell a lot of trouble here. And again, not taking that knockout a turn ago when we had the opportunity with Power Volt. Let's see if that comes back to haunt us. Hopefully not. I would hate to play this deck on camera for one game and lose with it after I saw not one but two people have made top 8 at Cities with it, given Peter Kica originally doing this and Dylan Bryan then following up in New Jersey. And obviously, you know, those guys are very, very likely to be much better players than I am, but we're not going to get too far into that now. I like to keep my ego at medium level. I don't want it to be too high. And Deon will go ahead and attach a Water Energy onto Kiram. And one of the bright sides, I guess, of playing against my own creation is I know that he does not have an escape rope in there. So if the only way he can bring my bench Pokemon up to the active would be to play a Lysander. Of course, the non-Mega Manectric and Kiram also have the ability to snipe. Instead, we just see a Power Volt here for 110. And we'll go ahead and bring the Zapdos up to the active slot. And I did see a Plasma Energy in my hand there, so we will be able to play that down. Looks like another Moltres is in hand, which probably isn't going to do a whole lot. Sorry about that. Aurora playing with the dish bowl, making a little background noise. Instead, I will opt to play an N after attaching the Plasma Energy from hand, so turn attachment is gone, and we will drop Deon's hand count to 2. I guess really at this point you could say, well, I hope you don't draw the Lightning Energy, but that Plasma Kiram is going to do the 120 either way. And that would be enough to finish off Zapdos and end the game. And that Plasma Kiram also being immune to the effects of Frozen City, since the Water Energy on Manectric was attached via Turbo Bolt, and really just a lot of crazy things I feel like just in general, but I almost cut the deck there and then decided not to. I'll draw my 3 cards, and off of those 3 I will hit a Team Plasma Ball, and that is big if that last Deoxys is in the deck, because that would allow me to knock out Mega Manectric with Agility as opposed to Turbo Bolt, and that would allow me, and there's the Deoxys, that will allow me to potentially try to survive the next turn no matter what he brings up by being invulnerable to attacks via the effect of Agility should I roll heads. So, and the more and more that we go into this, unless I retreat into a Deoxys, it is looking like that's what this is going to come down to. And there is the Agility flip off the table, re-roll it, and that is a 4, so that is heads. We'll take the 2 prizes here, and Deon will go ahead and draw. First, he's going to have to choose what to bring up, and now it is, do we do Manectric or do we do Kiram? And I think Kiram is probably the answer, as it is already set up to attack. Either one of them, should he have a Lightning Energy, either one of them would be able to deal enough damage for the knockout here. But being in that situation and not having the not having the ability to deal the damage, I feel like going to a Mega Evolution here, Mega Evolving the Manectric into Mega Manectric EX really seems like the only way to survive Power Volt, which is now dealing 120 base damage plus 80 more damage from the Muscle Band and 4 Deoxys, 180, so only the Mega Manectric could survive that attack. And we will see if he can pull out the Mega and stall out the turn. And as I really don't see another out, I mean, anything else on his board will get knocked out in a single attack, and perhaps a Lysander up for a Deoxys could potentially be a way of stalling as well. As once again, as I said before, I know he does not have an escape rope in his deck, as it is my deck, and I do not currently run an escape rope in there, although it would definitely not be a bad idea. And he's just going to be thinking about this, I think, here for a moment. And we'll see what kind of plays he comes up with. And it looks like he's going to play a computer search, actually, discarding, sorry for the edit there, discarding Seismitoad and Mega Manectric, so he will not go to the Mega Evolution stage of Manectric. Interesting call there, as I feel like, you know, granted that was all of the cards in his hand, and he will go for the Sycamore now instead of the Lysander. Really a couple of head-scratchers right there. You know, if you want the Sycamore, maybe wait and do the computer search next turn, save your Mega Manectric so that you can make that play and potentially survive, or go for the Lysander and try to force the Deoxys up into the active slot. And instead, he will play the Sycamore, draw 7 cards, and let's see if he's able to come up with a Mega Manectric now in his new hand. And there is a Lightning Energy attached to Manectric, and that will also deal 20 damage with Frozen City. We'll see, I believe he's going to get that here in a second. I think he's still thinking about what he wants to do here against that invulnerable Zapdos EX, thanks to its agility attack. And there is the 20 damage from from Frozen City onto Manectric EX, and we'll see if it really makes much of a difference or if it ends up just being the game over right here. And it looks like he doesn't have much, and Power Volt will be the knockout, so that is the game. And I'll just go ahead and draw and reveal my cards here real quick. Articuno EX was the prize card, Computer Search was the top deck, so we could Computer Search for a switch if he had Lysandered, or, you know, and there's Lysander in hand if he had gone to the Mega Manectric, and we would draw the Colorless Machine and the Rainbow to retreat anyway. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!